Kingdom is a South Korean Netflix original television series. It premiered on January 25th in 2019, and it's a political drama set in the turbulent 16th century of Korea, known as the Choson period. There's court politics, intrigue, and a question of dynastic succession. I've been telling everyone I've come across to give it a watch, and it would feel unfair not to tell you guys as well. And did I mention there's zombies? Because they're zombies, and they're awesome. Though I like historical TV shows, I don't typically enjoy zombies, but this show is the exception. And even though it gets off to a slow start, by the time you're at the end of episode 2, the world is literally on fire. Television is currently saturated by zombies, and somehow Kingdom does something new and exciting with it. And the fact that it's based on an actual historical period only makes it better. The story starts during the first Japanese invasion of Korea in 1592. We follow the story of the Crown Prince, the son of the current king by a concubine. The king is taken ill, and the Crown Prince hasn't been allowed to see his father in over a month. Suspecting foul play, the Crown Prince sets out on a quest to discover what really happened to his father. The king had recently remarried and is expecting a new child and heir, and this is where the political intrigues come in. You see, the queen and the current prime minister are working to wrest control for themselves, and will ensure that when the baby is born, he will take the throne and not the crown prince, which means a death sentence for him. But their whole plan goes awry when the current king dies of smallpox, and so, using some ancient medicine, they restore him to life. But it all goes terribly wrong. And now, zombies! Now, if that seems a little ham-fisted for you, just trust me when I say it is actually a very subtle show, and you spend just as much time dealing with the politics as you do with the undead. Without going into too many spoilers, because I want you to watch this show, the zombies themselves are unique because they're not always active, and this gives the show the ability to focus on things other than the zombies, and it takes full advantage of it, giving us deep court intrigues and faction politics. They keep the zombies contained. They're always a secondary antagonist behind the Prime Minister and his goals to take over the throne. The show itself is beautifully shot, even in the more macabre scenes, and if you're looking for gross disembowelings or just gore for the sake of it, this is not going to be your show. But it does manage to be creepy in a way that other shows in this genre just never quite manage. How the zombie outbreak actually begins, without giving away too many spoilers, is also more related to human elements. During this period of war, there's constant starvation, and people were forced to resort to cannibalism just to survive. It's weird that the showrunners clearly thought of a logical way that somehow zombies can be shoehorned into history. Because they keep them contained, though, it never feels like it's going to spill over the entire world. It feels like the show was written to remind you of a bit of history that you may have just forgotten. There's also interesting elements of Confucianism thrown in. The idea that you are born with the body your parents gave you and it must remain whole at all times. And so the idea of killing a zombie or dismembering the head from it or burning the bodies is especially abhorred in this society. The thing I most appreciated about the show was that they used CG sparingly. Nearly every single zombie you'll see on screen is actually just an extra. And there's something very creepy about watching 200 extras running through the streets, pouncing upon people. The idiosyncrasies of human movement are something CG hasn't quite mastered yet, and it tingles something in the back of the brain when you see a horde of actual people running at the screen. From the costumes to the locations, it's dripping with personality, and as far as I can tell, real history. It's based on an actual person in the period, the Crown Prince, who did have issues with the Great Northern factions. It just winds it together in a way that no one would have suspected. Your cast of characters runs from the heroic to the brave but comic relief, the overwhelmed physician, and the badass who just does badass things the entire time. As someone who came in knowing absolutely nothing about Korean history or culture, this show gave me a window into a world that I didn't know I wanted. So if what you've seen here gets you excited, give it a shot. Trust me, it's worth it. And tell me what you think below. They've already renewed it for season 2, and I personally can't wait to see where it goes next.